Hello, friends, benders and non-benders alike. Welcome to Braving the Elements, Nickelodeon's podcast about all things Avatarverse. I'm Janet Varney.
And I'm Dante Basco, and I'm very excited about this week's episode, Varney.
Yeah, me too, buddy. I am so excited. We have a very amazing roster of guests joining us for our discussion today.
That's it? That's all you're going to say?
What?
I mean, Varney, I'm excited about the guests too, but let's not downplay the significance of what's going to happen here today.
Yeah, no, totally. Which is what now that you're...
What? We are changing the very fabric of the Avatarverse, Varney.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
That is a big deal, yes, because we're going to talk to our pals today about creating new types of bending. I see where you're going with this.
Yes, and it's not kind of a big deal. It is a big deal.
No, you're absolutely right. You are so right, buddy. I should have ironed my shirt. I don't know. I should have honored this huge moment that's happening. You know what? Let's just jump into it. You want to bring in our brilliant innovators right now?
Yes, obviously, yes. Let's change history today, right now. Let's go.
Okay, feels like a lot of pressure, buddy. Feels like a lot of pressure. So with just the slightest bit of trepidation for what we're bringing our friends into, I do want to welcome our delightful guests for today. First, please welcome Tiffie Starchild, who describes herself as a content creator living an incredibly nerdy, colorful life, which as soon as I read that, I was like, oh yeah, that's exactly how I also feel too. So welcome into the family, Tiffie. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
Doing so great. Are you feeling the pressure of Dante saying we're changing the fabric of the Avatarverse?
Yeah, I just want to do a fun little Avatar chat with some new friends, and because I love Avatar, I didn't know that we were changing the universe, but I'm ready. I'm always ready to change the universe.
You have a name that's ready to change the universe.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's the
That's
name
what
of
I
the
was
person's
going
gonna
for.
do it.
It's a cool name. It's a cool
Thank
name.
you.
I can't lie.
And where are you coming to us from, Tiffie?
I'm in San Diego, California.
Okay, next we have the amazing Noah Nordengren, an OG Avatar fan whose first autograph from the Avatarverse was none other than our very own Dante Basco. Welcome, Noah.
What?
How are you?
How are you? Where was it at? Where did we meet?
It wasn't a Comic-Con. It was right in the early days of COVID, when we were still trying to figure out what the world was going to look like. You were selling autographs on your website or something, and I thought, why not? Let's just do this.
I think
this
we did a
fun.
Streamily. We did a Streamily online.
That's
signing.
right.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I love that you say that so casually, I figured, why not? That suggests that you maybe just have one or two autographs from the Avatarverse because that was fairly recent. But I feel like we have a little inkling that is not entirely the case.
Oh, no.
How many autographs do you have at this point?
I always get this count wrong. It's something like 30 or 40 at this point, maybe upwards of 45.
Okay.
I don't mess around.
I
I pretty much have everyone from the main gang, and I'm just trying to fill it in with random people. I just got Lauren Tom not too long ago, so
Judy.
Oh yeah, there is
Tom.
no Warren bossing say.
That's right. That's super impressive. But again, yeah, I love that it was just I just figured why not a couple years ago. And as you said, you don't mess around. That is awesome. And Dante, who do we have as our final amazing guest?
Well, finally we have Kaitlyn Muczyk, who is a true multi-hyphenate. She teaches dance, crafts handmade items, and is in a band with an absolutely awesome name, Muggle Snuggle. Huh?
That's
Welcome,
right.
Kaitlyn. What's up, Kaitlyn?
Hi, it's great being here and great to see your faces after listening to the podcast for so long.
Amazing.
We are so excited to have you. Now, we just getting the hint from Dante that you are a crafter and an artist. What's going on with that APA backdrop behind you?
Oh, yeah. I was so excited to see you, and I had to get that energy out some way, so I made a 3-foot by 4-foot APA and Momo to be my background for the day.
It's amazing. I'm always going to get on board for the tongue. If you're drawing APA, bring that tongue in there. It makes it extra cute.
I did not expect to be licked by a tongue today, but here we are.
Give us the genre of some Muggle Snuggle.
So Muggle Snuggle primarily was in the Harry Potter verse, writing our own music.
What instruments are you playing?
I play auto harp and then the Irish bodhrán. We play things like zither and an accordion. We're very eclectic. We have a fun time.
What was that second instrument you said right now?
Baran. It's a large circular Irish drum that it's like a hand drum that you use. So
sounds like some Hobbit music going on in there.
I am a Hobbit.
Middle Earth music popping off in there.
If I'm in D&D, I'm probably some sort of Hobbit character.
Okay. This is interesting because
I love those instruments.
I know, I do too. I have an auto harp.
You would, Varney.
When that baby starts to fall out of tune, I am like, ruh-roh, because that is a lot of strings.
Like you have to, it's like 32 strings. So you have to plan before performing that you're like everything. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what the auto harp is Grey Delisle.
Grey Delisle.
Oh, awesome. It's a good instrument.
Yeah, you can make like those like science fiction-y noises with it, can't you?
Ooh. Oh, I mean, you can make any sound with any instrument. I mean, you could really warp it. My brother-in-law's a violinist, and he likes to see like, what can I make out of my violin that's not a violin sound?
Wow. Nice.
So fast.
Okay, so we're dealing with a musical family here. This is good to know.
Yeah, we are. Okay, so great having all you guys here, and I want to ask you guys specifically about Avatar. What keeps bringing you guys back to Avatar time and time again as far as messages or values? You first, Tiffie.
For me, it just became a comfort show in 2020 during that time. And there's something about it I just find it very comforting. I like watching Aang's journey. I like watching how these young kids have to overthrow a system. Everything is stacked against them. They only have each other. They're very much a found family, of course, besides the ones that are, blood related. And then when you get to Korra, it just flips that on its head. It's not so much comforting, but we're in this same world and we get to see the flip side of that story. A completely different avatar, a different group of friends. They're a bit older. Nickelodeon seems like they were like, okay, let's give them violence. Let's use the word died instead of gone and things like that. So just from both of the series, it gives me so much as a fan, as a person that likes storytelling, as a person that likes to side with villains a lot. I can make a lot of excuses for these villains. Some of them are a little bit valid now, don't get me wrong.
When did you first discover the show, Tiffie? Like, how long has it been in your world?
Mainly since it appeared on Netflix. So when it first came out, I couldn't really catch episodes. It was like a here and there type thing. I heard of this show, Avatar. It sounds cool, but I never could get into it. When it was on Netflix and I had a chance to binge watch everything, it was instant. I became an instant fan. So I have respect for the OGs that have been there since day one. What did they have to wait? A week between episodes? It couldn't be me. The universe knew I wasn't built for that, so I had to do it all at once.
I hear that. I mean, that was such a gift to everyone to have it available in this totally new way. I think we often talk about this on the podcast, Dante and I, where we feel like it happened when the world needed it most. And so for people who found it that way, it's like such a perfect time emotionally too to get to know this universe and to feel comforted by it, and to also feel like it's reflecting back things that are happening in real life, but also offering up like this kind of very soothing, wonderful, delightful, magical world too,
Mm-hmm.
What about
I think
what about
great.
You?
Like,
go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go
I'm
ahead.
just saying, I think it's great too, because I also have adult money now. So since it's popular for everyone and people are coming out with all the different things, I'm just like, I'll take one of you and I'll take one of you.
Adult money. Something to be said for that. Something to be said for that. What about you, Noah? Where were you in your life when you found Avatar? And then tell us, what Dante asked about kind of what it means to you and why you come back to it.
I mean, as Tiffie says, like there's people out there who are part of the OG of the Avatar world. I don't think there's anybody more OG than I am. Like I remember watching the first episode with my father and my twin sister when we were young. Like I remember when that episode premiered, and like I have like this amazing ability to pick out when something's going to be a hit. I've always had it ever since I was like a young kid. Like when I first saw Avatar as a kid, I thought, you know what, this show's going to go places. I didn't know what that looked like at the time, and I was like, this is going to be like a hit. Like just also, you didn't realize how much that show shaped you as a kid. Like you learned so much about like Eastern philosophy, and even like currently in grad school, what I'm doing in school, like like that relates so much to what I do. Like I'm actually writing papers with Avatar as like a symbolism and like talking about that in the classes. And it's like nobody knows the show. Well, none of my teachers know the show, but like all my fellow students, like when they hear about Avatar, like I go to different things wearing Avatar shirts and people are like, oh my gosh, yes. Also what this show means to me is it's just brilliant storytelling. Like you don't put a show like that on television. Like I think, well, you didn't put a show on television like that at the time. Like it was a very smart show. Like everybody recognizes how smart that show was. And I think it's just incredible that Nickelodeon was like so cool with like allowing like that show to be on the air, especially in light of like what was going on at the time of like the war in Iraq. You had also the very deeply troubling problems of the time. And even it still carries over to today.
Yeah. I'm so curious what are you studying that you're kind of able to incorporate like lessons from the Avatarverse? That's so awesome.
Oh, yeah, I'm kind of doing a philosophy theology degree, so it's actually quite delightful.
Kaitlyn, what about you? Tell us about your history with the Avatarverse and why you come back to it time and again.
Sure. So I first got into it. I was in kind of college when it came out, so I was not paying attention to Nickelodeon or TV at the time. But whenever I moved back home about around like 2010, 2011, my cousin was like, you have to see this, because her kids were of an age where they were watching it every week. And then they were like, you have to watch it. The series is so great. They're like, especially Guru Patik, because I was studying yoga at the time and they knew that I was really big into yoga and Kundalini and the chakras. And they're like, oh my gosh, this episode, it like teaches my kids about what you're learning. And I thought it was so interesting. And so I watched that. That was my first episode, was the Guru. And I come back to it. I, like many of you, like came back to it whenever it was COVID. I had my baby on March 2nd of 2020, and we came home from the hospital and everything shut down. So it is my fault. I apologize, everyone.
That's ridiculous. It's your baby's fault.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
I get how the tree is one big thing, but the whole world?
Sure. You think you're any different from me, or your friends, or this tree? If you listen hard enough, you can hear every living thing breathing together. You can feel everything growing. We are all living together, even if most folks don't act like it. We all have the same roots, and we are all branches of the same tree.
I tend to come back to it time and time again because of like themes like love and letting go and open-mindedness, and the idea that the illusion is the separation, but the reality is that we are all connected. Yes. So that's what brings me back time and time again.
I love that so much. Does that translate for you, Kaitlyn, to how is the Guru still, or is it one of your favorite episodes?
Oh
of
yeah,
Avatar,
it's
Last
definitely one of
Airbender?
my top favorites. Yeah.
I bet you love the swamp too.
I do. I guess you know what? No, I think my dad was a philosophy major. So I feel that, you know, that looking into something deeper and trying to find deeper meanings, they say that like nonfiction is people who like to categorically look at things and learn from that. And people who like fiction are people who like to learn life lessons through storytelling. So I think that there's a beauty in learning life lessons through storytelling in an accessible way.
Thank you, Swamp Guru. Thank you, Guru Patik, for all of these amazing lessons that have come to us. Noah, what about you? Do you have a couple favorite episodes of Avatar: Last Airbender?
Oh, that is a tough question.
I know,
that is
I'm
a
so
really
sorry.
tough question.
I hate when people ask me that.
I mean, I think the Ember Island Players is probably the funniest thing. It's just
book three, Ember Island.
Also, Sokka's Master. I remember that being a really cool episode when it came out, and also the fact that you have Robert Patrick, who is the Terminator himself.
Yes,
and also just the Sozin's Comet arc is just so incredible. Just especially like with Mark Hamill, like Luke Skywalker himself. Like, I think it's just so incredible. Just all the scenes that, like, especially you, Dante, have with Mark and you just going back and forth. Like, I remember you once described it as, like, being like a Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker moment.
Totally.
And it's like, oh my gosh, that just must have been so incredible. Oh, wow.
Sounds like you like hanging out in the Fire Nation. Not a bad place to hang out for
That's
a while.
his takeaway. That is his takeaway. Tiffie, what about you? Do you have a couple favorites?
I do. Okay, so don't get mad at me. So for me, it's Zahir. I maybe have a little crush on Zahir.
Oh, you're jumping to
So
Korra. Okay. All
oh,
right.
all right. We're
I was
all
just
over.
asking
No,
you
it's
about
all
Last
good.
Airbender. We're going to have to bring you back for Korra so we can talk about the brilliant and terrifying Zahir. I'm putting that
my bad.
I'll just put that in my
It's
pocket.
Avatar.
There's no bad to it. Yeah, Avatar Last Airbender. But side note, agree on Zahir. Go ahead.
For sure. Definitely Princess Yue's arc and just that moment. She is my favorite character. And there's just something so baller about her looking around and being like, man, okay, I got to do it for my people. Bye. And then she just like clocks out. That is beautiful and it's sad. And that entire thing just gets my heart. So it's Princess Yue's arc and episode for me.
Plus, she's a fashion icon of the Avatarverse.
She is a fashion icon.
Icon of the Avatarverse.
Perfection. She's like, let me give them a slick updo. I'm gonna do these edges. I'm gonna have these loops.
She's always killing the game. Even when she comes back in spirit form later on, she's just fantabulous.
She keeps giving every time, and that's why she's my icon.
Yeah, she's fresh in our minds because we just watched The Awakening not too long ago. And, here's this like very special surprise guest appearance by the Moon, who agreed is fabulous in every way. I love her outfits. I mean, we always get so excited
outfits.
when we see
who made that
cosplay.
outfit, Princess Yue? Who are you rocking on the runway right now? This moon runway. That thing is amazing.
Water Tribe has it going on when it comes to that fashion.
Going on. Mm-hmm. Agree.
How about you, Kaitlyn? Do you have a favorite episode in book 3 or throughout Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Oh, actually, so book 3 favorite is the Puppet Master. I'm just gonna put that out there, and I'll explain later. We'll come back around to it because we're about to talk about bending, so we'll bring it back.
Good point.
I must say, that one really lit a fire in my brain, and it got me thinking about different types of bending.
We asked all our guests that come on the show, what is your favorite hybrid animal in the Avatarverse? Let's start with Kaitlyn.
Oh man, Fufu cuddly poops. I mean, this is the baby moose lion.
Yes,
this little cute thing. And Sokka's stuck. It's coming up. It tries to fetch him something.
It's cute when it's small. It's cute when they're pups. It's very cute. When they're small, it's cute.
Yeah, it's that maternal instinct. I like little tiny things. Yeah, like the babies.
But
you're gonna have a very loyal beast when it grows up. So
yeah. Hopefully.
You can like both versions.
What about you, Tiffie? What's your favorite hybrid animal in the Avatarverse?
The turtle ducks. Just because
for the win, always turtle ducks.
Turtle ducks. I don't know, and just the way that mommy turtle duck came after Zuko like that, so they're fierce. Like you look real cute, but I'll mess you up, and that's just a vibe I respect every day.
Yeah, them turtle ducks are there. I see so many turtle ducks in Avatar. I've been thinking about them having them on my shelf. Like sometimes when I see ducks in a pond, I'm looking for the turtle duck. Like in real life, I'm like, "Where's the turtle duck one?"
You're like, "What's wrong with this animal? Why is it so?"
I know. Where's the one with the shell? Did you guys see the shell one or no?
You know what? I guarantee you, anytime you're at a pond, if there's a handful of people, at least one other person will know what you're talking about, and they will agree, and everyone else will go, like, "What is wrong with both of you?"
Noah, what's your favorite hybrid animal in the Avatarverse?
I've always been a sucker for the ostrich horse. I think those things are just so incredible. Like they get very little screen time, but I think if you're going to basically run an errand or run a message somewhere, you need an ostrich horse.
Oh yeah. I stole one of those one time from somebody.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
I stole it. But I like to think that Zuko, when he became Fire Lord, he sent a whole stable of ostrich horses back to that family for stealing their ostrich. He needed it at the time. It wasn't cool. It's an uncool thing to do. He did. He took it. Didn't ask nobody nothing.
Right.
They're very cool, slick animals.
We see that you're wearing an Earthbender t-shirt too. So you picked a very quintessential Earth Kingdom animal too. Like it's extremely useful. You see it. They're loved and cared for. So I feel like that's of a piece because we know you love that Earth Kingdom. So
of course.
I support and applaud that. Y'all, we have got to ask you maybe one of the most controversial questions that people ask in the Avatarverse, but we got to do it. We got to know, Noah, Who do you ship from the Avatarverse?
Ooh, I have been thinking about this. I have literally been thinking about this. I am so sorry, Dante. I am really sorry.
Don't
Katang for
apologize.
life, buddy.
Don't apologize to me.
But also at the same time, I think Ty Lee deserved someone. I don't know who, but I think Ty Lee deserves someone at
She
the
has
end.
that heavy crush on Sokka.
But Sokka and Suki make so much sense to me. Like, I'm thinking maybe it was a minor character from earlier in the series because they were all at that party at the end of the season. Right. Like, maybe she meets someone.
And as we're getting into book 3 here in the podcast, as we're rewatching it, a lot of the Katang vibes are happening. It's progressing pretty fast now as we're getting into the first few episodes of book 3. So I see what you're saying, Noah.
Mm-hmm. Well, Zuko's making out with May nonstop, so he's can't bother you too much.
That also progressed pretty quickly. Like, what is going? Well, they are teenagers, these things happen fast sometimes.
Exactly. I always love when Olivia and Gray are at cons. They'll talk about like shipping Taizula, which I sort of love because I love that Ty Lee is sort of unbothered by, she's seen of all of the people in Azula's life, maybe with the exception of May, but they both sort of have this like, oh, Azula, like they're, you know what I mean? Like Ty Lee is like, yes, of course she doesn't want anything bad to happen to her, but I feel like she kind of takes Azula down a peg because she's like, yeah, she's just like,
Azula
okay, Azula, whatever.
Yeah, I know. And Azula's like setting her nets on fire. Like, I'll kill you if you don't come with me. How about that?
Not too much on my girl Azula. Not too much.
That's right. Not too much. That's right. We have our adversary defender here, and I love it. Tiffie, might as well tell us, who do you ship from the Avatarverse?
I'm a big Taizula fan as well. I love that.
Taizula.
I also feel I'm a modern woman. I don't think Katara has to choose. I think you could have a little Aang, you could have a little Zuko.
Oh my God.
And they fulfill different needs as friends.
Wow.
And why should she have to choose?
I mean,
Dante's really thinking about it. Okay.
I think we should just broaden the horizons a little.
Let's see. I mean, Katara's a modern woman. We don't know what she did.
That's right. That's right.
It could be beautiful. It could be beautiful. When she needs to go mess somebody up, she runs with Zuko. When she needs a nice emotional, spiritual connection, she kicks it with Aang. Everybody's happy.
That's the thing. Sometimes
I'm listening. I'm
Why
absorbing.
Are we fighting?
I know.
You're gonna heal this rift in the Avatarverse. You're gonna just heal it
Avatar
right now. It's happening.
Unity, community, all coming together, the 4 elements. Let's get an earthbender up in the mix for funsies. Why not?
I love it. Kaitlyn, what do you think? Who are you shipping these days in the Avatarverse?
I came here ready to fight for my girls, and everybody seems to already be talking about Azula and Ty Lee. Taizula. I am a big fan of a strong woman, and there is no man, you can see it in the beach, there is no man who can handle the energy that Azula is bringing. What does she need? She needs energetic, spunky, someone who reframes. That is why that match is so good. Is she toxic? Yes. But I tell you, I know a lot of lady and lady relationships, being one myself, that this is a trope that's out there. We've got the strong and we've got the spunk, and it works. And I think that they can balance each other out. Azula helps to get Ty Lee was in the circus. She was enjoying it, but why did she join the circus? Because she wanted to be different than her siblings. She wanted to stand out. She was looking for something in her life to be special and to stand out. And Azula, she's going to continuously push Ty Lee out of her comfort zone and into situations. So I am a big fan of those two together.
I love it. I didn't know I was starting that fire when I brought it up offhandedly. I'm so excited that we have like a little bit of a minor theme going on for this episode with some Taizula love. That is gorgeous.
So here's the part of the conversation where we'd normally ask each of you what kind of bender you would be, and we are going to do that. But this is a very special episode of Braving the Elements, and we think we should probably save that question for the end of the conversation, because today we're going to do something that some might deem impossible, what some might think is too dangerous, what some might say threatens what we may think about the Avatarverse.
Okay, listen, if I may jump in here, I feel like we've already established for today that we want to hear from you about what kind of bending we should, let's say, we'll all invent it together and why. And we're just going to reassure Dante all along the way that that maybe this won't break the fabric of the Avatarverse.
I don't know. I mean? I just hope we make it to the other side, Barney. I just hope we make it through to the other side.
I do too. I don't want to rock your Fire Nation boat too much. This is not the first time fans of the Avatarverse have had a conversation like this. People have been talking about inventing new forms of bending since almost as long as there has been an Avatarverse. Noah, I see you over there nodding, so I know I'm right.
Oh, big time, big time. Definitely, I remember early on there were all these conversations about all the subsects of bending, and like everybody's like, okay, like could we do metal bending even before metal bending was a thing, or would lava bending even work if lava bending was a thing? I mean, recreating different bending styles like this is the heart and soul of the Avatar universe.
Let's jump in, Kaitlyn. What do you think? Yeah, Kaitlyn, what's the concept you had then?
Sure. The first one off the top of my head is light bending. Is taking and refracting light. I'm a theater kid, so I think about the way that we use stage lighting and mirrors and think about magicians. So I feel like a light bender. Also, if you're a fan of the book and TV show The Magicians, that one of those people is a light. And so working with the idea of how do we shape light and how can we change it to our advantage.
I love that.
Sounds amazing.
I don't think I've ever heard that before. That makes
actually
so much sense. It's like the element of light. I mean, it feels like a little bit of a missing piece.
I heard a story, you guys. Someone did this. Do you want to hear the story real quick? I'll be really quick.
Of course we do.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
So Travis Willingham, he's a voice actor, Big Trav. And I guess his brother-in-law did this book, The Secret, and attracted all these people that do different crazy things. He went to a dinner, and everyone had these weird, different metaphysical things. He said, crazy. And he said, one guy said, "What? Like what?" And Travis like, we went outside. This one guy said, "I have this thing. I don't know what it is." He said, "What is it?" And he said, "It's a light thing." He said, "What's a light thing?" And he said, "I'll show you." And he said, he picked up 2 rocks off the ground. He said, "Bang these 2 things together. These rocks." He goes, "What?" And Travis banged it like this, like he's like knocking them together. And then the guy said, "No, like this." And he grabbed the 2 rocks and he slammed them so hard against each other. And then light came out of the rocks. And the guy grabbed the light and then he like threw it on the wall and did some stuff. And then he just like, "That's what I could do, but I don't know what to do with it." And Travis was like, what the heck was that?
That's a light bender right there. There's a light bender.
Travis was like, "Don't tell the government about this because you're gonna get thrown into some kind of situation you don't want to be in."
They'll tax you for that. They'll tax you.
I don't know. That's how I remember the story. Travis,
what
don't
to
reach
make
out
of
to
this.
me and don't. It's just
Don't
it's a
at
story
you.
he told me at a Comic-Con one time. It blew my mind.
That's a great story. Okay, so we may or may not have proof that there is such a thing as a light bender already.
I love
Kaitlyn,
it.
prescient. You knew it. You sensed it. That's amazing. What about you, Noah? Listen. Maybe you're prescient about this too, because you knew when something was going to be a hit. So maybe, like Kaitlyn, you are creating a bender that has been hiding in the shadows this whole time. Anyway, what do you think?
I don't know how else to say this, but Kaitlyn, you stole my idea.
I'm so sorry.
Like,
Great
you were
minds,
thinking
y'all.
about like using the light for like changing like stage lighting and all that. I'm thinking about it because simply firebending's overrated and very unsafe.
Hold up.
Those are fighting
Hold on.
words.
Noah. Okay, keep
Yep.
going. Go.
I said it.
I'm proud of
Okay,
you for saying that, Noah.
I try. Basically, firebending's overrated and a little unsafe. It's like you're trying to read a book. I'm in a library right now. If I wanted to firebend my way, I would have a serious conversation with the fire department that lives nearby me, which is actually staffed by monks.
Really?
Yeah, I literally live by a monastic community, and their fire department is staffed by monks.
How awesome is that? It's like the airbenders are over there being like, if we need to step in, we will.
They're Benedictines.
Well, the
Got it.
concept I was gonna ask is what kind of element is light bending, but you're saying the light bending would be a high form of firebending.
I do think so, because basically it's like you're basically trying to read and it's like you're in a room without lights. Like my dorm room literally has no lights in it. So like I would have to like refract the light from the hallway into my room.
That would make sense because the sun gives the firebenders, our energy, and of course during an eclipse we lose our firebending skills. So the sun is light. So being able to
the Sun Warriors
manipulate
episode.
light, yeah. So that's
one of my favorites as well.
Fascinating. Okay, I like that. So we got like-minded individuals. Tiffy, what do you think about a different form of bending? Anything new coming up about?
I have 3.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay. I'm like adjusting myself in my seat like, all right, let's
go.
do this. I love it.
Okay. And these might be strange as like bending concepts, but just like walk with me. Sound bending sound. Just the different things, you can even weaponize it. Imagine blowing out someone's eardrums or just creating so much noise and static that they can't function. I think we should jot down sound bending. This one might be a little bit thought bending, which is just psychic attacks. We're getting into mutants at this point, I know. But
no, it's so good though.
Bending, right. Like imagine getting in, and if you're not a good person, if you're not aligned with the right side, you could really mess somebody up by getting into their head and literally changing their thought pattern. If there's something about like the physiology of the brain and how thoughts are formed and move about, what if someone can get in and just readjust as they see fit and change the way that you think? That's crazy. Third one, hair bending.
Hair bending.
Hair bending.
Hair.
Everything's just a matter of like, oh, I need to switch it up. Imagine getting box braids. These normally take 10, 14 hours, 1 hour tops.
Yes.
Game changer.
I love these so much. I love the twist at the end that feels maybe a little bit less, I don't want to say less powerful, but a little bit more cosmetic in a way that I super, super enjoy. And the thought bending thing is that's brilliant and terrifying. In that, along the same lines as what we were talking about with blood blending. Just the idea of
thought
being able to manipulate.
Definitely a dark bending force. It's like
a dark
no.
I have to jump in there.
That's a no-go.
No,
bending.
The forces themselves are not good or evil. What if you use
Kaitlyn,
that thought bending to bring people around, to see good, to unify, to unite? That the elements, even thought bending.
It could be.
Yeah, it could be.
But we don't know.
We can
it's
use
whoever's controlling it. The problem is
it's
who's controlling it could be
it.
brainwashing.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's no Warren Bossing say. They thought they were thought bending for good.
Yeah.
Hands down.
The problem is, I think it's a dark art. I think it's like blood bending. I think thought
I disagree.
bending.
I disagree too.
I disagree because
Janet.
I think Kaitlyn nailed it. Kaitlyn said it's not good or bad, and I think you can extend that to light bending, sound bending, hair bending. It's all about and all of the forms we understand. It's about
we can't trust ourselves. Who do we get? We don't know who's policing it.
I think in the same way blood bending can be used for good or bad, but when it's introduced, it was definitely like this one person revolutionized it, thought of it. Blood bending was not a good thing. The idea of because I think it ultimately why it's a dark art, why it's a dark bending is because it comes down to consent. At the end of the day, whether you're changing someone's thoughts for good or bad, you're in a space where you do not belong. You don't belong in their blood to make them do something. You don't belong in their head to make them act against their will. So I would argue that thought bending is dark that can be used for good.
It's AI, you guys. It's AI. We need to regulate it. It's AI. It needs to be regulated.
Now, don't take my beautiful creation and do that, Dante. Don't you put that juju
on, Dante. I
as
think
the creator of thought bending. I've got to say it is not AI.
I mean,
Tiffy, I think also maybe you're a bit of a word bender. Maybe you're a bit of a word bender because you're changing my thought. With how you're changing our thoughts here about just putting it out there.
Some would call that manipulative. I like word bending a lot better. Thank you, Kaitlyn.
It's good. No, I mean, that makes sense. The consent thing is a really, really good point. I think the place I went when I was thinking about the positive side was more empathy, right? Like it was more, I guess it was less for me, less about like deciding for someone else to change their thinking, and more like being able to infuse the experience. That's almost like emotion bending, which also sounds like it could be a little dangerous. But yeah, like creating that opportunity for people, because you're right. It's like, if you're using it for good, you want people to make their own decisions that are positive. You don't want to just like sort of impose something like that on someone, because it's sort of part of the journey that we go on, right? To learn for ourselves. But that's kind of where I was going with it. I was thinking like, if you can create a scenario in which someone is better able to imagine like being in someone else's shoes or what have you, then like that feels like less manipulative. Does that make sense?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I think it'd be wonderful if we like just not wonderful if we did, but it's fun to imagine an avatar that faces that decision. Like maybe as the avatar line continues, it's less the spiritual and less strictly elements. And you have avatars that can get into thoughts and things like that. And then it becomes a moral thing of like, listen, I can end this imbalance. I can end this war, but it requires morally forcing people to do something that maybe they wouldn't. I feel like that might be a moment.
It would be. Yeah. That's exactly the kind of quandary that, we find ourselves in the Avatarverse. I love that. Yeah. What were you going to say, Noah?
I was going to say that sounds like you're basically in one of my morality classes with me right now. Because like we always ask this same thing. Like right now I'm in a class where we're looking at structures that we enable through different like behaviors and all that. And at the same time, like, basically, that could be a premise of an avatar. It's like, what if bending itself? Now I'm going to sound like an equalist for crying out loud. I'm basically, what if bending, or like, what if we allow bending to enable the problems?
Totally.
I mean,
the power structures changed.
Absolutely. What about time bending, you guys? Is that talk about danger? Like time bending. Well, if we do want to start bringing in some of those sprinkles of the Doctor Who's and the, like
I would
88 miles per hour.
That's right. Yep. Exactly.
I would be in trouble with that. Like, Tiffie, you're late. Am I? Am I late? Yeah. Like that would be me every day.
I mean, the avatar should be able to time bend because he's connected. They are connected to all the past life, and kind of does go back in their timeline often. And it's the avatar is right there with time bending. They're so close. It's just like it's just maybe too close. We don't need that. Maybe we might not need that.
I mean, the Avatar and the Fire Lord. We literally see Aang spend a whole episode learning about Roku and Zuko and Aang spend a whole episode learning about each other's respective pasts.
Right.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I mean that's almost like that is almost the benign version, almost like the empathy we were talking about with thought bending. Like if you can sort of do it like, if I may, pensive style, like if you can go in and see someone else's memories or see their experience without having the power to change something, then that could increase your understanding on almost a firsthand basis without like having that power to be like, well, maybe I just change it right now, and then who knows what happens in the future as everything kind of unfurls, and unravels.
If you could get into time bending, then you could probably take a jump into multiverse bending.
Ooh.
Okay,
let's go there. Let's go there. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Once you get the time, we just got to go to the other.
What else
and
there?
You might dial right into another.
Especially when you have avatars like Kyoshi, who comes from the past to speak and isn't speaking from memory. Like it's not just a replay of what happened.
Yeah.
She's like, no, I did that man in, and I would do it again to protect my people. Like she spoke fresh of the experience.
True. That's very true.
That's very, what a great episode.
True. Oh, totally. So good. So good. Okay. I love all of the kind of high stakes stuff. Tiffie, I think you were onto something with the hair bending, which is to say, do any of you have ideas for sort of those small things? Like maybe they're silly. Maybe it would be silly to convert something so small into an actual bending power. I remember when I was like in college, I was like writing sketches that were kind of riffing on the X-Men and, the idea of mutants and stuff. And I had this character who could just talk to moths. It was like, how has that helped you? It doesn't. It's just like what my mutation is. I just know what they're thinking. I know that they're like, ooh, something bright, light. And so, does anyone have any good small scale bending?
Mine. You had mine from earlier, the hair bending, which is okay to consider that silly, but I think that it's also very practical. These braids, friend.
Yes.
Too long.
100%. Kaitlyn, any lighter level scale bending ideas?
Yeah, my lighter scale one is like smell bending. Like, sometimes I would like to take a smell away from me. And I would love to just bend that away. Like if I'm doing the litter box, I would like to bend that away.
100%.
I love it.
I was thinking about smell bending too. I was like, there's a thing we're talking about superhero powers. Like you might just get the bad power, and like your power is you can smell everything. You're like, why is that my power? My power is I can smell too much of the world, everything. You could smell everything. You're like, you're smell man. I don't want to be smell
like
man.
I can't be around
You're
anyone.
smell man, dude.
This is why someone becomes a nomad. They're like, I can't be anywhere too long. It smells too much here.
Smell man, that's your power. You can smell better than anyone in the whole universe.
Smell
At
man.
that point, no, you have to become a villain. You have to earn respect in the streets somehow.
What choice do you have?
Smellman has to become a villain. If he gets funding, if he links up with a more powerful villain, he has options. But if you are Smellman and they are teasing you for your natural born gift, you got to make them pay. That's your only.
We got a new superhero team. We got Smellman. We got Hair Girl. We got these superhero squad. That's like, what kind of superhero squad are you? Like, we're the new superhero squad.
Yeah.
We're the ones that showed up. The Avengers, they're not here. They didn't come through for you.
This is who you get. This is who you get today.
Girl. And who do we got with you, Noah?
And we got Ice Cream Man.
I'm listening.
How does it work?
Basically, it's like he can just summon whatever ice cream that he needs, and just he rides in on like a Silver Surfer wave of ice cream.
Sounds delicious. Delicious.
Listen, I feel like there are some serious situations where we got some hangry people, or maybe we just have like people who are just not in a great mood. You put some ice cream in front of those people, you'd be surprised how quickly they become more open-minded about compromise. That I truly believe that. So I think it's brilliant.
You're the ice cream bender, smell bender, hair bender. This is a brand new gang that we don't know what's happening with this gang. This gang has a different...
Quick, somebody come up with a fourth one. We have a new cycle.
I mean, listen, I have introduced a moth bender. So, I mean, I'm sure if you really get those moths together and can maybe get them to focus on something that's not just bright light, they're going to be real happy.
Why?
So,
the light bender can help them. You know, the light bender would call them towards... Yeah, they could join forces.
Maybe the moth
get some funding.
Is the beginning of something that we don't know.
You guys, yes, this changes everything. Dante, you've converted me. We've changed everything. I didn't realize that I was going to be most enthusiastic about the simple ones. Yeah, but we have changed the fabric of the Avatarverse. Now, with all of these new inventions that we've come up with,
yes,
we probably better find out. You can take a new one. You can take a classic. Yeah. But we do need to know what kind of bender you would be.
Your bending?
Has it influenced?
Have it influenced your bending position?
Exactly. Kaitlyn,
who wants to
tell
go
us.
First, Kaitlyn?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. I've been waiting for this moment my whole life. I am a bender. I'm a dance teacher. Yeah, I'm a dance teacher. People listen to me and they do things. I would be a blood bender. But people pay me to get them to move the way that I want them to move, to do the things that I want them to do. They're like, yeah, I'll do it. This is great. So it's consensual blood bending. I also think about blood bending as a healing art. Like think about if someone had something in like a heart issue or something in their blood that being able to work with them for healing purposes. So my thought has always been that I would be in the water tribe, a type of waterbender that would be a bloodbender, and that it would be for, I would use my powers for good because that's the kind of person I am.
You're walking the line.
I love that so much. You walk that line.
I will.
You walk that line.
It just takes one tip. Great. You can just get one toe. You can have a bad day, bloodbending, and your toe goes over that line. You're gonna be a line crosser.
Well, then don't cross my line. You know, don't do it. Zuko.
Remind me how many people the Fire Nation killed, Dante?
I mean, it's history. It's very.
It's history. I love Kaitlyn's choice. Noah, what about you? Tell us what kind of bender you are.
Oh boy, this is tough. I mean, I'm born in June. I'm from Iowa, which basically puts me in like this weird, like I'm either a summer, so I'm either a firebender, or I'm from Iowa, which is very earthy. Very much very farming. But at the same time, it's like I'm born in early June, so it's like I gotta be an earthbender. I'm sorry. Like I just love that the singular style of movement, like the Hungar form of kung fu that is the basis of earthbending. It's just so cool. It's like just so effortless, just smooth, just like firebending is a little chaotic for me, but I love also just the
No, I'm hearing a lot of I don't, just
a lot of slander.
A lot of slander, Fire Nation slander in your tone.
I mean, I love you, man. I mean, you're like you are the voice of my childhood. Sometimes, like Zuko, Jake Long, like Rufio. Come on, man.
I'm just
Rufio.
Hey, I'm just saying, a lot of great people, good folks out there in the Earth Kingdom. Really strong, earnest people, very powerful people, and you are. For people that are watching the visual of the podcast, he's very Earth Kingdom. You're wearing Earth Kingdom gear. The background's very woody. I mean, if you're not Earth Kingdom, I don't know what is.
And I'm 6'4". I'm a big dude, so it's like I'm very.
You're a boulder.
Like
you're a boulder kind of guy. You're a boulder kind of guy.
The boulder no longer feels conflicted.
That's a great boulder impression.
A philosophical boulder.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I met Mick Foley, who was the voice of the Boulder last year at the Twin Cities Comic-Con, and he and I did a voice back and forth of the Boulder, and it was like so fun.
The Boulder feels conflicted about fighting a young blind girl.
Sounds to me like you're scared, Boulder.
The Boulder's over his conflicted feelings, and now he's ready to bury you in a rock-a-ledge.
Whenever you're ready, the Pebble.
Love that.
Shout
I
out to
absolutely
Mick
love that. Okay, that just leaves us with the brilliant and wonderful Tiffie, who is going to tell us, with all this conversation, where are you falling in the bending department, Tiffie?
Well, I'm a Pisces, so you would think that I would be Water Tribe, especially because we know we have it with the fashion in the Water Tribe. However, it's going to be the Fire Nation for me.
Fire Nation for the win. Let's go.
High five.
Bam. Let's go.
What a twist.
What's our gang sign for Fire Nation? I don't know what it is. Let me stop.
This Fire Nation.
I was going to say, I think
it's
living
Fire Nation all day.
Yes.
And part of that reason
Good
is
folks
because
out there in the Fire Nation. Good folks out there in the Fire Nation.
Good folks in the Fire Nation. A while back, I got the Avatar cookbook, and they break it up according to the different nations, and I was like, ooh.
Spicy,
Fire
baby.
Nation has all the spices, all the spices, and I understand. I think that Sozin maybe was onto something. He just wanted to share the culinary brilliance of his people with the world, because they didn't use no seasonings in the Mother Tribe, Earth Kingdom little bit. But.
This word bender just convinced us that Sozin was a good guy. So you are a master. You are officially.
Thank you.
I did not know that was possible. You got to us through our stomachs. You got to us through the delicious spices of the Fire Nation.
Good. Yeah, we just have to look at it from what he was. Was he the best communicator? Was his plan the best? No. Do you go out there perfect every day? Do you? No, none of us do. And I think that we should allow for a little bit of grace. Some thought bending, change those patterns.
Fire Nation.
Join the Fire Nation.
A little Fire Nation, little Earth Kingdom, little Water Tribe in the group. It's a pretty balanced group. It
is a very balanced group. It's a very balanced group. I am so impressed with all of our guests. You guys came up with some brilliant, wonderful, in some cases hilarious, and just perfect bending styles, new types of bending. This has been so much fun to talk to everyone. I don't want it to end. But I guess it is ending.
Thank you guys so much for joining us on this very special episode of Braving the Elements. It's great to hang out with you guys and talk all things Avatar, especially the bending. I think we made a ripple. We may not have broke the whole thing, but we definitely we might have progressed it and at least
Yeah.
sent a nice ripple across the Avatarverse, Varney.
I feel it. Will you all tell us where we can find you if you would like folks to check you out on social media and all that good stuff? Tiffie, what about you?
Oh, yeah. You can find me on all social media, TikTok, Instagram. I stream on Twitch. It's at Tiffie Starchild. I also have a villain PR series that floats around a lot where I literally defend villains. So you might have seen me talking my mess there.
Love it.
She is Fire Nation, you guys. She's Fire Nation
I'm
over there.
Fire Nation. It is what it is. And please, for real, have me back when we're talking Zahir, because I got things to say.
Oh, I couldn't miss it. Kaitlyn, what about you?
I'm casually on Instagram at dancer Kate K8, or Muggle Snuggle Music. If you want to hear some tunes from my band, we're always looking into making music from other fandoms. So Muggle Snuggle Music on Instagram and Facebook.
Love it. Noah, what about you?
Yeah, and I'm on Twitter, and the app formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram as Nordengren. Nordengren being my last name, pretty phonetic, so it's not difficult to spell.
Awesome. And we'll make sure it's in the description too, so people can check it out if they need to. Awesome. Well, everyone, please go think on all of these new bending styles. Figure out if any of them are for you. I definitely know I'm going to be doing some hair bending later, so I'm really looking forward to that. And we will
Shout out to all the smell benders out there. Shout out to all the smell benders.
Shout out to the smell benders. We will talk to you next week on Braving the Elements. Bye, everyone.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Did you know you can hear bonus episodes of our award-winning podcast?
Subscribe to Avatar Braving the Elements Premium on Apple Podcasts for early access, exclusive content, and ad-free listening.
I'm so excited!